Okay, welcome back, guys and gals. I've got the incredible, the talented, the awesome, and of course, part of our team, Jodie Dennison today.
Hello.
And today we're going to be talking about financial abuse. Now, for all of you guys that are watching, this is something that touches a lot of people's lives. If you're in court, you've either been on the receiving end of financial abuse. So we're going to talk about it, because one thing that we do here at Family Law Assistance is talk about the stuff that just ain't comfortable to talk about. So, Jodie, what do you understand to be financial abuse?
So, from my understanding, financial abuse is control. Definitely control. But it's often dressed up as, oh, darling, don't worry. You stay home. I'll go to work. I've got this. And it starts out and you think, oh, this is nice, and it feels great. Until 2 years down the line, you're getting asked, well, what did you spend that money on? Well, why is the food shopping that much? And lo and behold, before you know it, you're in the clutches of controlling financial abuse, and that's it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. So, fun fact, so people get to kind of know us on a bit of a personal level. But my ex-husband was the classic, I know he was kind of the richest person that I knew, but didn't earn particularly a huge amount of money. And I used to say in my more charitable days that he had an eye for detail. By that, I meant that he knew exactly what we're spending. And I think the pinnacle for me, so I experienced it, the pinnacle for me was we were out shopping. We always went Dutch. And I'm like, listen, I earn my own money. I always have done. And I remember he said to me, you owe me 47p. And he was not joking.
Ding, ding, ding. Alarm bells. Yes.
I know, right? So if you had that.
I didn't. I can't often actually say that I had it to that extent, is the honest truth. Mine was much more always thrown back on me. Everything I do is for you. If I didn't do what I do, we couldn't have. And only now, and I'm talking like 15 years out of it, that I can see that actually it was very coercive, and just control. That fear that you don't know where your next penny is coming from, that you need them. I always had my own money. That was the thing I did. But one thing I never did was keep any aside for real good things I needed. I.e. my phone bill, cars. I didn't own cars. I didn't pay any of the bills, the gas, electric, and they're all the things that actually are important, not being able to go and get your nails done and stuff. So when I was on my own, when I say I got hit with a big fat salmon, with the shock of life, it was a big shock, so but that's what I feel like financial abuse is to disempower you. It's to make you think that if you're not with them, you're nothing, you're nobody. And that is a massive point of financial abuse and domestic abuse.
Absolutely. And this is the thing, even today, despite the fact you've got loads of definitions out there about what abuse is, people still, I don't think, really understand that financial abuse comes under that umbrella, and it affects men and women alike. This doesn't
100%.
discriminate.
No. And I think that's the key here as well. I do feel like we're in the times now where when we talk about domestic abuse, we straight away see it as a man doing it to a woman. And actually, the truth of it is, it's a lot the other way around now. And, let's put the shoe on the other foot. Some women can be quite coercive when it comes to financial. I'm not working. I need something. You can't leave me. You can't leave me. I've got nothing. So it falls both ways. I've got experience of one way, but I've actually watched the opposite way, and it's equally as it's not okay. It's just not okay. And I just think that women get away with it a little bit more because hello, thank you. That's live on Facebook. Sorry, I just got a tea delivery. There we go. No abuse going on here.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, I just think that we often see it straight away to be a male thing to women, and actually women are are equally as bad nowadays, you know. And I don't know. I think we need to raise awareness of what this is doing, because people are going through their life not realizing what they're in, and all of a sudden, like with me, it hits you, and you think, how am I going to do this? Like it's damaging for your whole life.
Yeah, it's funny because I a bit like you. I was the person that was kind of in that not so positive relationship where, you know, pennies were counted. And I remember thinking at the time, personally, I'm like, you know, I've always worked. You know, it's funny, the chat that we were having before we came live, and we were both saying, weren't we, just to how, although I have to be honest, I was well gel of your tips. I mean, I worked.
I know.
Man, wow.
No, I worked in a really, really affluent area, and I was really completely off track, but was really fortunate to be taken under the wing of a guy, and he saw me right through till I was about 25.
Wow.
He looked after me when I was doing hairdressing. I used to work in his salon. I'd use his salon and he'd be like, no, keep your money. He was really lovely. But yeah, I went out to work, so I had a good work ethic, and I earned good money. Working, you know, I would shampoo 20, 30 people's hair a day, and I got £1 every time.
Wow.
I know.
That's so much more glamorous than me.
I don't know though. My hands were sore. I had dermatitis. So
Wow.
but you know, balance and all of that. But yeah, I worked all my life. So this is another thing though, so I suppose it is relevant. I always worked, I always earned my own money. But yeah, I still found myself in a situation whereby I was controlled. And I was always very independent, and I'm still very independent. But you just, like I said, it gets sold to you in a way that you think you're still independent, but you're not. Actually, everything is taken away from you, because without that, you've got nothing.
Yeah, I remember. So just on a personal note, I remember going to Primark. I mean, look, you could buy half the shop for like 20 quid, or you certainly could back then.
You could, yeah.
You know, picking up things from the floor and that had tags on it. And I remember coming out one day, and I must have gone on like a spree, and I had like 2 massive bags. And I remember my then husband at the time saying, what do you want that for? What do you want that for?
Yeah.
And straight away, like, you know, there's me going, I do like me a good bargain. So back then, 2 bags, I'm like, look, like 2 bags, 20 quid. Straight away, I sort of tensed up and felt guilty. Instinctively thought, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have bought this, you know, And it wasn't even just like that. It wasn't even just the nicest things, you know. I'll never forget. I had a row over a pillowcase, and I remember it's ridiculous when you say it out loud, and in benefits of hindsight, you say it out loud, and you're like, that's ridiculous. But I remember having this great big row about a pillowcase, and I remember there being on the phone going, no, we really need pillowcases because the other one's really old, and we've had them like 5-6 years. Could have just gone and bought the sodding pillowcases.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, you know, you put it together and you realize, wow, that was quite controlling. And me being quite strong and assertive and very independent, thinking to myself, how did I let myself be?
That's the thing. I think when you look back, like you've just said, you think, how did I let myself get there? Because, you don't realize, because it doesn't happen all in one go. It's tiny steps.
No.
And I have to be honest and flip it around here. I don't know always that people realize that they are doing it, let alone us realizing it's happening to us. I don't know if actual people that are doing this at control realize. I think sometimes people really believe that, well, I have to take control of the money, because if I didn't, you wouldn't do it right. And I don't always think there's malice in that, but I do think that it then grows and it does become a form of abuse. But I don't hand on my heart believe that everyone sets out with the intention of thinking, I'm going to control this person with money. Like, I don't think it's that straightforward.
It's not. You're right. You're so right. It wasn't black and white, because I remember thinking at the time, my then husband at the time, he genuinely, he was really worried. He was quite anxious. So, and listen, making sure that everything was running smoothly, that we had enough money to pay at the end of the bills. You know, I think when you just zoom out and look at the bigger picture, then I think people realize. And I also have to agree with you. So, you know, most people who are watching this know that, you know, we help a massive amount of guys in this scenario. So whilst I've certainly been through this personally, both you and I have watched it flip around the other way, haven't we?
100%. Yeah, I mean, also people quite close to me, I've watched manipulation of exes, where they use the children and the children's needs, financial needs, to stay in control, and when that doesn't go their way, they can get quite nasty. And I've again experienced that very, 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 very close to me. And I don't know, do women that do that realize they're doing it? Do men realize? I don't know, but I've watched it, and the ripple effect it has on everyone is ginormous. And what people also don't realize with this is the ripple effect it actually has on children in these situations. Like with the situation I'm saying, mum not happy, not happy in her own life, throws toys out the pram, starts screaming and shouting that dad should be doing more, child hears it, all of a sudden we're on to a whole nother thing, aren't we here? But this is what people don't realise, it's the implications of this behaviour and what it has on other people and the ripple effect. It's something that really does need to be made, people need to be aware of, because it causes long-term effects. I did a post yesterday, it might not have been yesterday actually, it might have been a couple of days ago, about financial abuse, and I had a lot of interaction on it. And the general consensus on the post was people don't even get over it or heal from it. It causes a lot of issues in you. I now, believe it or not, I'm a massive, I can tell you where every penny goes, every penny. Now, I often have to sit back and say to Scott, I'm sorry, I'm not being controlling. And he's like, no, I'm happy for you to do that, because financially we're both in the best place we've ever been. But I'm very aware that I don't want to take control and come across how I was maybe manipulated and controlled. So that behavior was never in me. That is a learned behavior from what I've experienced in my past relationships. And you carry it on. It doesn't go away. I think the post I did another one, if someone gives you a black eye, you have a black eye, it kind of heals. Emotionally, when people chip at you with all these little things, it doesn't just go away. It actually affects your whole personality. It alters everything about you. And I think that's what's interesting.
It's funny, as we deal with finances and divorce matters, I remember when I started out on this gig, and I used to think, oh, child emotional finances, and I used to say, nobody gets upset over a bank statement.
Yeah.
How wrong was I?
Yes.
Yeah. Because nobody's really arguing about the money. It's not that people are really arguing over. No. What they're arguing over is the control. And sadly, especially when people are on the phone to me or you, people are in that crossroads section. They're either relying on the goodwill of their ex, which is gone.
Yeah.
Or they're needing help from the court to settle these matters. And by the time they're on the phone to me or you, well, they're in their bunker, they're in the other bunker, and there's a whole bunch of no man's land that me and you have to sort of negotiate.
Yeah, that's the fun part, definitely. And one thing I was having this conversation again today, something that I am learning is financial ain't as black and white as child matters. Literally, the minefield in the middle is unbelievable, and there's a lot as well of misinformation around financial matters that I'm learning on a daily basis. That literally, if people decide that they think they can take on their case themselves and deal with it, I literally would say, please don't, because this is something we do all the time. And every time I pick my book up and think, I'm just going to double check that, I learn something else. And I think, wow, I didn't even know that. Yeah. I didn't even realize.
So I dealt with somebody and something that you'll be familiar with, so I'm talking about a woman here, and then you've got the mates around you. The mates, what they reckon, they're ad hoc reckoning. What you want to do is you want to take the bloody lot, and that'll show him. But of course, then we get into speak to me and you and think, well, you know, we're there with the clipboard, the books, you know, going, well, Section 25 of the Matrimonial Causes Act will say
Absolutely.
all of these factors, and it's not quite the, is it the meme of Karen on Facebook?
Yeah, it's like literally, Karen, go and stir your coffee again and keep stirring, because your input is not that helpful, mate. Like, again, a conversation I had, that people around you always want to support you, of course they do, but the sad reality of it is that your friends actually are not helping the situation. Like, definitely they're there to vent to, but actually I think that that's it, and it needs to stop there, because by the time you come and say, oh, well, so and so said that John's wife's Linda down the road's ex, and I'm like, wow, okay,
Yeah.
what about the back of the case? I don't know about that one. Let's stick with you, let's help you, and let's do you.
It's the equivalent though of the guys that come to us, isn't it? You know, well, Dave down the pub, what he reckons is
Well, yeah, oh, I know, yeah, it is. But anyway, getting onto it, it's about people. Yes, you should always listen and have support. Especially if you're unaware that you're in this situation. I think talking about things to people, you know, is good for raising awareness to know whether you're in that situation or not. But if you do find yourself in that situation, or think you or someone else is, it's about them finding the correct support and help, because it's not an easy feat getting out of that. It's just not. It's not as simple as, well, I'm going to take you for half and that's it. Oh, he's done this to me for years. Or and equally, if you feel like you're being controlled, you can get out. It's knowing actually we can get you out of that. It's finding the right people.
And I keep saying this again and again and again, but certainly what we do here is that beautiful melting pot, isn't it? Of that the you know, the arsenal of life experience, just knowing that we get it.
Yeah.
Ergo, we got you. And okay, now I need to tell you about Section 25 of the Matrimonial Causes Act. Oh, and by the way, here's a plan. I agree with you, actually. I think one of the best ways of protecting somebody against financial abuse is just awareness. I mean, you know, having these conversations, people
100%.
tuning in, watching it, having that real honest talk about, look, this is what it is, and you have a choice. And I think a lot of people, and we've talked about this when people self-represent, we're talking about, there's another topics, but this, like anything else, people have got a choice, haven't they?
100% they've got a choice, but I just think that you need to be careful with your choice, because it's, once you have that realization that maybe you're in that situation, or even that you're doing it, you want to obviously try and stop that and fix things, because if you didn't, you wouldn't come for help. And I just think with the wrong advice or wrong support, it really, really can make things a hell of a lot worse. Like, it's just not being on your own. I think that's key here. Not sitting and thinking, I'm the only one. Oh, and also another thing, not thinking you're mad, because I think sometimes you're in a situation, you think, oh, it's not me, or is it? Oh no, it can't be. Oh, I'm just being silly. Don't. If you've got that feeling, you've got that feeling for a reason. I mean, I'm quite spiritual and stuff, and they say if you get a vibration or a feeling about, so we talk about our spidey sense all the time, if you get that feeling, the chances are you're right. It's actually the energy that's being given off around a person or situation. So if you think, oh my God, I think I'm being controlled, I think that's coercive, I think that's manipulative, chances are it probably is.
Right.
And sometimes they say, I'll talk to the other person. You know what? Sometimes you can't, because they will tell you you're mad. And I've been there. I mean, I was convinced by my ex-husband I was bipolar. He had me in front of a psychiatrist. I don't even take medication now. Like, just to give you an idea of how it can get into your head. I'm a strong, strong person. And he got me hook, line and sinker. You know, with my ex-husband, it wasn't financial abuse. It was much more emotional. But anyone that knew me said, you, like, what? And it's like, yes. Because you just think, no, I'm being silly. I've just read about it and now I'm drawing likeness. Well, actually, if you're drawing likeness, chances are it's there. like you're not going to be able to relate to it if you've not experienced it. That's my opinion.
I agree. I think I'm just kind of tying into what you're saying there. I think a lot of people don't. There's a real thing about acknowledging your feelings.
100%. And trusting them.
Right. You know, there's a real thing about stopping and say, doesn't matter the whys and wherefores. It doesn't even matter to a greater or lesser degree if it's real or not. Just to stop and acknowledge those feelings. I feel like this.
Yeah, 100%. And don't like underthink it. I think underplay it. I don't even know what the word would be. Like I've just said, if you feel it, the chances are it's real.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's not likely to not be.
No.
Yes, of course, there are people that can convince themselves of all sorts. You know, I had a power of the mind is very, very strong. I had a conversation with my daughters in the car this morning. Someone had told me one morning that if you didn't cook rice properly, you could get really ill and that you shouldn't leave it out. Honestly, I convinced myself I had food poisoning. I was physically sick. Like, that's the power of the mind. I know it's completely off topic, but that is it. So yes, you can convince yourself sometimes, but the chances are, again, I wouldn't have thought that if someone hadn't told me that about rice. It's actually true about the rice, but it wasn't true about that rice. But I convinced myself, you know, and again, though, I wouldn't have felt it if it wasn't there. It was there. It was real. It's a real thing, but just don't underplay it. And always try and talk to somebody, try and discuss it, because again, with the right help, you can get through it. You don't have to go through it on your own.
I totally agree. Absolutely agree. I mean, when people come, listen, you know, it's no small feat that people come to us in a really distressed state anyway.
Absolutely. And they don't know where to look and they don't know where to go. I think that the biggest thing we can say here is that having been through it, we absolutely can not even just not with just forms in paperwork, the emotional support that we can give, because I think people don't realise the emotional damage that's done with these behaviours. And, you know, in some respects, if you certain other organisations probably won't be able to give you the emotional support because our support is experience. I can talk from my heart.
Exactly. And I think, you know, the fact that we are strong women, you know, what we do here, you know, we are really strong. Fun fact, I remember, so this, you know, you said about how sort of life hit you in the face with a salmon. That moment came for me when I was helping someone in court and in London, actually. And up until this point, I'd always say, oh, you know what, people, it's financial. Look, it's just a load of paperwork, it's statements, right? It's bank statements. And the other side lost. And I got physically assaulted by somebody hurling the financial bundles. And if anyone doesn't know, that's pretty heavy. Hurled it at me in court, in front of the judge.
Nice.
Now, apart from the fact that was a really dumb move to make, recorded in front of a judge, but I did stop there and think, yeah, this wasn't just a paper exercise.
No, definitely not. I think actually, the truth be told, there's probably a little bit more emotion in money than there is anything else. I mean, I think going at the other side of law that we wills and probate, if anyone's had any experience in there, I promise you, if you don't know the truth about your family, when it comes to wills and probate, you'll find out. And that's true. That's a fact. So I think it is safe to say that when money's involved, you might see the other side to someone.
I know, because, you know, listen, when we, you know, the reality is that when we're talking about finances, we're talking about somebody's.
Oh, I've lost you.
Oh, have you? I'm still here.
The volume's gone. Oh no.
It's all right. If someone's calling you again, it's the myriad of people of calling you. That's probably why. Are you there? Can you hear me? Is there?
Oh, hello.
Can you hear me? Okay.
I can't hear you anymore.
Oh no.
That's really strange.
It's all right. Jodie's on a mobile phone. Can you hear me now?
You've gone.
Oh no. Well, listen, anyway, I don't know if Jodie's going to get back to us, but listen.
So strange.
If any of you want some help, okay, we deal with this. We're family law specialists and we're the market leaders in non-legal legal help. We have been around for like forever. We've been around for the last 14 years. So if you need some help, come and get in touch. We have that beautiful melting mix of, you know, all things legal, as well as you can see our arsenal of life experience. Can you hear me at the moment, Jodie?
No, I can lip read.
She can lip read. That's amazing. You lip read.
I'm just waiting to see you say I'm going. Bye.
All right, okay. So if anyone wants anything in the comments below, okay, I will see you later. That was for Jodie's reference. All right, guys.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's happened. Thank you.